Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. First of all, I just want to thank you to those that took the survey on our free monthly trainings. We sent that out last, I want to say November and December. We did review the results, and we are taking all your feedback into consideration to make sure that our 2022 monthly trainings become more beneficial as well as available to you. So you'll see some changes on times and dates and so on. We're going to test some different times and stuff out based on that feedback. Today's training is one that we have covered last year. However, there were requests to run it again. So again, thank you so much for joining me. In this training, we're going to look at how you can make Salamander a part of your everyday work operations. We're going to be taking a look at some use case scenarios, give you guys some examples. Feel free to ask questions if you have any during the training. You can just unmute yourself and ask the question. You can also use the chat function, send me a message. I'll make sure to keep looking to make sure I don't miss those as well. If I do miss it, just ping me again or unmute yourself and then ask. So here on the screen, I've listed a few ways in which Salamander can be implemented on a daily basis. We're going to take a look at weekly, monthly meetings. I'm hearing some background noise, so if you have not done so, please mute yourself. Be very appreciative. Let me just go here and mute individuals here. Okay, thank you. All right, so on this list, you're going to see we're going to talk about weekly, monthly meetings. We'll talk about tracking of visitors, how you can use Salamander for that, especially with right now with the rise of COVID or the COVID variants. How you can use it for trainings, exercises, and events such as like conferences. How you can use it for regular equipment audits, as well as CAD integration. So for each listed, we don't have a lot of time today, so what we're going to do today is just do a real high-level look at the process. If you have more questions on it, you want more details, you can reach out to your local sales rep that can provide you more information. You can reach out to us at training@salamanderlive.com, and we can walk you through the process on more details as well. So the first area I want to talk about is weekly, monthly meetings. As we know, most businesses, most agencies, organizations, any sort of departments, they have weekly, monthly meetings, right? Some right now with most people being remote, there's other ways that you can run this as well too. So depending on what Salamander solution you have, you're able to utilize that to track the attendance of your on-site or your virtual meetings. So there is Rapid Tag, and then there's the Track app. Of course, you can use Command for this as well too, but the two we're going to focus on is Rapid Tag and the Track app. This process, it provides a more accurate account of who attended. So you can, especially if it's on site, you can get rid of that communal pen and paper, and then use this electronic version set to check people in and out. And then if needed, at the end of the meetings or at the end of the month or whenever you need to, you can log into Salamander Live and you can pull the report. So there's a people activity report in there in which would act as your attendance or your assignment sheet. So I'm going to show you that real quick here on that process. So let me just get my mobile application up and running here. Give me 1 second. Show you guys the Track app and Rapid Tag. So here's Rapid Tag. You guys can see Rapid Tags up on here. If I wanted to do like today's meeting, so monthly meeting, whatever you want to name it as, today's date, start the meeting. It's as simple as this, right? You start the event, you run it, oops, and then you just start scanning in people's credentials. So if you already have pre-printed credentials from Salamander Live, you can use that to scan people in. So in this case, if I'm going to scan these individuals in, I just quickly just take their ID, or you could place it in the front and they can scan themselves in. So simply as simple as that. You don't need to print off an ID. They just verify the information, click finish. And then it's going to add that individual. Next person comes in, and simple as that. Okay. Now the other way is through a driver's license. So you can do the option of scanning people's driver's licenses as well. Simply just scan their ID tag and then you can add them in. So unfortunately I don't have an ID tag, or I'm sorry, a driver's license to scan in here, but it would be the same process. You take their driver's license, scan that barcode, you're going to get the same information that pops up on here. So you get the same screen. And this is where you can go in and select their organization. So all your organizations that you have pre-entered will be listed here, or organizations that you've used before in RapidTag will be listed here. If that person's organization is not listed, you can click on New and add that person's organization. And then whatever information that you want to enter in for that person, and then just click finish. Most of this information should pull up from the person's driver's license, but again, it really depends on the state. Some states have more information than others that's embedded into that driver's license barcode. And then again, option if you want to print off an ID tag for them, if that ID tag serves as their check-in, but let's say you're in a building that that needs an ID tag or some form of identification, you can print off an ID tag, a sticky label, and then put that on so that they can walk around if need be. So that's the RapidTag function. See how simple and easy that is. On the Track app side, let me just pull up my Track app over here on the other screen. It was up and running, but my screen locked out. So let me just grab this real quick. I'll pull it over. So on the Track app side, let me grab that. Okay, so on the Track app side, you'll see on here, and let me minimize that so you can see that better. So you'll see in here, there's already the monthly meeting that it created through RapidTag. So if this was something that you weren't using RapidTag with and you were just using solely the Track app, of course the event wouldn't pop up on here. You'd have to tap down here on the new and then create the event itself. Okay, so you can create the event itself. In this case, we'll just use the one that's right here so I can show you that process. So in this case, you create the event, or you can join it if you're using it in conjunction with RapidTag. It just really depends on how big your meeting is, right? So you can tap join, and then you can start checking people in. The only thing with the Track app is that you use Track app solely on its own, you do have to add in a assignment. So whatever assignments you want to use for that. Same thing with the RapidTag side. RapidTag's going to use whatever default assignment you set up. So in my RapidTag, I have the default assignment set up as checked in, but you can put whatever you want with that. With the Track app, all your assignments can be in here. So this is pulling from your Salamander Live database, all your people or your equipment. You know, obviously for a meeting, you wouldn't be, I don't think you'd be scanning in equipment, but if you're just tracking people, that's where you can download them, or you can scan their Salamander credential. So it's as simple as that. So let me just scan this in so you can see how quick and easy this is. So I'm on the main screen, tap the scan button. Make sure you say OK on this so that it can have access to your camera to scan. To scan this person's barcode in, and then select the assignment. So if the assignment wasn't there and you wanted to create one called checked in, you can create it right here where it says filter or create new assignment. or if it's already created, all you have to do is select that assignment. So I'm going to check in this person. Person's going to get verified, and then they're checked in, and then I used to scan the next person. You see how quick and easy that is? And then when you're done, just tap back. So that's how you can use RapidTag and the Track app to manage your weekly and monthly meetings. Again, a lot of this daily use is just trying to get your people, your staff members, used to using the application so that when an event rises, they're not scurrying on how to learn how to use these applications. They would already have retained that information because they've been applying it on a daily or monthly basis. Okay. So any questions on the weekly or monthly meetings and how to use the RapidTag or Track app for that type of scenario? Let me just check the chat side and make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay. And, you know, if you are using this right now for weekly and monthly meetings and there's different things that you have discovered that has worked well for you, please feel free to share with the group as well, too. Share with the group so that they can utilize those tips and tricks as well, too. All right, so tracking of visitors. So this is a great way to get rid of that communal, sign-in process when they're looking to enter your building. So a lot of, just for security purpose, you're having people, sign in and such. Instead of doing that, you can use RapidTag for that purpose, especially if these are true visitors that don't have Salamander credentials. So you can remove that manual sign-in process. You can quickly scan in their driver's license, just like how we talked about before, and then print them an ID tag. And then that ID tag can easily serve as an identification for them as a visitor with site permission. So there's specific information within RapidTag that you can add if they're limited to certain areas or they're, if they're going to a specific room. That's information that you can have printed within that RapidTag ID tag. So that RapidTag ID tag is only good for a specific period if you set that. So there's an option for you to set a specific period. So let's say for that day. Next day, if they're visiting the building again, they have to re-sign in, which means they would get a new ID tag. And with this, for each day, especially with RapidTag, there's different colored media that you can use to represent each day. So there's different ways in which you can use this to make it most useful for checking in your visitors. And of course, there is an option for you to pull up a report within Salamander Live, which would give you a sort of a electronic visitor log that you can view at any time. So lots of different things that you can do with this. So again, I'm going to pull up RapidTag so you can see this process. So let me just end this meeting really quick. So say this is, check-in. So this is a visitor check-in, whatever you want to name it as. So visitor check-in, today's date, whatever you want to put the date in as. You can put in the date whichever way you want. So there's a start date, today's date, I'm going to start. Same thing, right? Let me see if I can find a driver's license. Normally I would scan my own, but because these are recorded and posted on YouTube, I prefer not to. Let me get one in here. It's in a RapidTag one, but okay. Let me just scan this person's in. So this is the only way I could do it. It's a RapidTag one. So basically, you can scan this person, and this is already debris cleanup, so I'll just manually add this person. So you can Put in here again, person's organization, where they're from. You can click the new if the organization's not listed here. Okay. Fill in the information. Leave ID, again, first name, last name. If their driver's license, again, it should pull up the information. Okay. And then their assignment is checked in, whatever you have set as a default. And then there's an expiration. So this is where you can go in and put the expiration. So if today, for today's date, you want it to expire today, and if your office closed at 5 and you want, this tag to expire at 5, you could put that time in. So what is that? $1,700. So this does use a military time, so you want to make sure you put that in there. And then their title, if they're a visitor, what their role is, what they're doing there, why they're there. So, let's just put here, monthly meeting, whatever meeting that you're doing, whatever it is. The location, so conference room B. So you see how you can put all that information in there. I'm just going to print this off so you guys see what that looks like. Okay. I'm going to click finish. Okay. The spooler is going to pop up and then it's going to start printing. So if you want to use Rapid Tag with ID tags, make sure that you have your printer set up and configured with your computer so it can print ID tags. All right, so let me show you what that ID tag would look like. Pop that up. Oh, 1 second here. All right, here it is. So you see visitor check-in, today's date, so that's the name of the event, person's name, title, what their role is, their location, and then the time in which their ID tag expires, so 1,700 hours. So and again, this ID tag, so when they're there, this would use as their ID. When they're done for the day, they're leaving. When you have them check out, all they would have to do is bring you their ID tag, and then you would just scan it in a second time into Rapid Tag. Let me show you this real quick. So scan their ID tag a second time, and it would automatically move that person off scene. You see that? So it checks them out, says that person has left the building. Where you would do that is going to be in the File and Options. So make sure that you turn this on. So File, Options, and then it's the 4th tab on here called Assignment. So this is where you can go in and change this. The only time you can change this is before you start your event. Once you start your event, you cannot go back and change this. You have to end this event and then restart a new one. But then you may lose this data right here. So in this case, if that was a case where you wanted a check-in, being able to check them out, you'd have to start a new meeting, and you can join that previous event with your new event together. So that way you can keep your data from your previous event. That's all done through Salamander Live. It's called an internal join, and it just is going to merge data for your 2 events together. Okay. Any questions on that? We'll take a look at the reports afterwards. Questions? No questions? All right. I'll keep moving on then. Next on here, trainings and exercises. So from simple, smaller trainings to or exercises to more complex, multifaceted exercises. Salamander, can be used to help execute all your response plans. So There's a couple different solutions you can utilize for these. Obviously, there's a long list. You can see everything. So all of our solutions can be utilized for trainings and exercises. So it just really depends what of our products you have, as well as what features of those products that you have. The more you have on there, the more you can utilize and kind of just have a better, I guess, collection of the information that you need when you're thinking about collecting what kind of info. First one is plans. So this is a newer feature that we released last year. But the Salamander plans feature, what it does is it allows you to pre-create the training or the exercise or the event with all the assignments and resources beforehand. And then once you're ready, you can basically just activate that plan into an event and then manage the check-in process for the plan resources using the Track app. So the Track app is a solution that's required to be used with the plans. It's the only solution that we have that's configured to work with plans. And then, of course, you can see the results of your check-in process through Salamander Live. So within the event dashboard, there's a chart tile. The chart tile is you get an additional chart tile, or I'm sorry, you get an additional feature within the chart tile that shows you all of your check-ins for your planned resources. Okay, so I'll kind of walk you through that process. That in itself, it's a much more detailed training that I would do for plans, but today it's going to be real high level. I'm just going to walk you through the basics of it. Again, if you're interested in the plans and you're seeing this and you're like, wow, that's something that I could definitely use, again, you want to make sure that you contact your local sales rep and they can provide you that information. The plans feature is there is a fee for that feature. So again, they can provide you that code as well. To help with pre-planning, you can also build out your assignment structure ahead of time using Command. So Command, if you don't have plans, you can also use Command to do this. However, Command, you are a little bit more limited when it comes to functionality and features. You're not going to have everything pre-planned the way that you would with an actual plan itself using that plan feature. But with Command, you can open up Command the day of once you have the event, the template created, and then activate that. And all the data from your event would flow into that pre-designed template. So I'll show you the two of these real quick here before we move on to any of these other ones down here. Okay. So let me pull up Salamander Live real quick here. Let me make my screen a lot larger. So if you have plans, if you purchase plans, you'll see it as a menu option over here called Plans, and you'll see the difference between plans and Command. So in here, you'll see in here I'll clear this sort real quick here. All these different plans I've created. Here's where you can create a new plan, enter in the information for the plan itself. Let me see what's in here. Let's just do this one right here. So Tuesday plan, I'm not sure what this one is. This is my test account, so there's a lot of test ones in here from all people. So your plan details, again, your plan start date, that's what you would put into the system and when your event is going to start. Excuse me. Everything is manual, or the activation of the event is manual. So you still have to activate that. So I'll show you how to do that. But the top here is kind of your navigational toolbar. You have your chart. And then in here, this is where it kind of works like Command. So if you used Command before, this process is very similar. So this area in the middle section is your layout area. This is your assignment icon. It uses drag and drop functionality. So you can drag and drop this and then create your chart. So if I threw this down here, you get some little helpful hints. You can go in here and start adding in your assignments. So if you wanted to add some sub-assignments underneath Operations Section Chief, you can do so. Okay. Once you add in all your assignments, you can right-click on here, and then you can edit. So you right-click the assignment, and you click Edit, and you can add in more details. So other details you can add in here, of course, is all your planned resources. So who are all the people that are then staff member that's going to be working that event? Is there going to be any equipment there that you want to track? Is there any collections or companies or teams that are going to be working that event and where they're going to be placed for an assignment? Okay, so it's just simply clicking on each of the different resource types and then adding the people that you want in there. Okay. So simply is doing is that, and it adds the people in there, and it provides some information on that person, such as their organization, their rate, etc. So you can do that for equipment and collection as well. Other information you can add in here is going to be details on the assignment itself. So in here there's assignment start date. So yes, if you're looking at scheduling, this is one thing you do not have with Command, is the ability to schedule when that assignment starts and where that assignment is located on a map. Okay, so that's all the information. So required for plotting, this right here just coincides with there's a map function within the plans feature, and it kind of gives you a visual of where all your assignments are located in perspective to your event location. So you kind of map everything out. So you can do that for each of your different assignments. So right-clicking and editing and adding the details for that. Okay, so this is where you see in here it says November 3rd. Obviously, we're in January, so it's in red saying that, hey, a warning, this is a past date. It's been passed. You want to make sure that you correct the time and put it for a future date. So if it's a future date, it will turn black. So you know that that's a good time. Okay. The reason why for that, when you're looking at scheduling, is because all these people are going to be late, obviously, if once you activate this plan, because they're already late before the event even started. So other things that you'll see in here is the map function I'll tell you about. So that little square box that talked about plotting, this is what it's talking about. It's not being plotted on the GIS map. So the GIS map and the plan map are two separate maps. Okay. So this information right here does not plot on that GIS map. That's for a much future release down the road. There are plans to make the GIS map more functional, having additional information in there. But that's a big, huge project. So I don't have all the details. I don't know what's going to be added, etc. to that. But I know that that's going to be looked into in the much future. But all your assignments that's listed here, so you could have like the event location and then all your assignments. So if your event is right here and you've got different assignments stationed around that, you'd see all your pins pop up on here. Each one of these are clickable, so it's going to tell you exactly what that assignment's called, and then the address and the latitude and longitude. Each of these, if you need to change the location, you can click on any one of these right here, double click it, and it'll take you back into that assignment details. See this? And then you can fix whatever you need to fix for that. Okay. And then clicking the back button will take you back to that map. So great tool to have. Again, you don't have this with Command. And then there's an email function as well too. So, you know, as you start planning your exercise or your training event, people need to know, right? All those staff members, people that are going to be working that event, they need to have the details. So in this case, for a plan, you're able to send them that information. They would get that within an email that has all the details that you've entered in on the chart side, like such as who they should report to, where they maybe there's a specific area for them to park, what kind of gear they should wear, or things that they need to bring, things like that. You can include that within the assignment details, but also on this email side page as well too. So tons of information you can do on this. And then once ready to activate this, let's say it's a day of the event, you're like, okay, everything is golden, you can activate this plan by clicking the checkbox and then clicking Start Now. And then you can activate this. Once you activate it, Now is activated once you enter in the event details. So all plans are reusable. So this right here allows you to change the name of the event if you need to. Maybe the name of the event and the plan are different. So this allows you to change this to whatever you want this to be. This is no longer a plan. This is an actual it's an actual event now. So you can change that. You can put the address for the event itself. This is for, again, a update that we'll be doing in our next Salamander Live release, which will actually map this onto the GIS map. So this will be working once we have our next release up and running. So whatever address that you put in here will appear on that GIS map. Okay, just click Start. And now you'll see that there is an event called Tuesday Event in here. And there it is, Tuesday Event. Let's just go in there. So I'm going to show you all the chart and everything that's related here. So see in the new update, you'll see it pin it in here. I'm in Minnesota, so it will pin a red pin in here. So you'll go down to the chart function. You'll see the chart. It's exactly like how my plan is, which is different than command. Command, if you connect it to Salamander Live, it just kind of throws everything up in here. There is a feature that allows you to recreate your command chart within Salamander Live. But I believe there's a fee for that. Don't quote me on that. I believe there's a fee for that. But here you got your actual and your plan. So actual is people who checked in, and plan are all the people that are planned and the time they're supposed to start. So this is what I was telling you, that you get that extra chart that comes with the plan. Okay. On the command side, or sorry, on the plan side, you'll notice on here, once I activate this, your track app users are now able to check people in. So you'll see everybody in the track app, all your plan resources. So let me just get my track app over. So you see Tuesday event. There's no resources in there. We know that they're all planned, but they're all grayed out. So in this case, you see this, they're all grayed out. That means that they are planned. They're supposed to work that shift or that assignment. And then as they check in, their names would basically no longer be grayed out. Okay, so same process. You can scan them in by downloading. You can add them, check them in by scanning or by downloading them into the event, as long as it's the correct record. Okay. So that's on the plan side. I know that's very high level. But if you want more details on the plan feature and how it works with track, you want to see that, contact your local sales rep and they can provide you a more detailed demo on that. On the command side, so I've got command right here. Let me just move it over. Oh, hold on here. Okay, command side. I apologize, I can't make my command any larger than this, but I know it's probably hard to see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to File, I'm clicking on New Incident. So in command, you have to go in and create your template first, right? But in order to do that, you have to actually activate an event. So, you want to do this when you're not running an event, right? So people don't get confused on all the different events that may be popping up. But you'd have to activate the event, so you can call this a template if you want to. You can call it whatever you need to if it's a test event. So training template. So I'm going to call this as training, and then click Save. So this brings you to your layout area. Let me make this bigger. Very similar to what you guys saw in the plans feature. So this is your layout area, except you have many more toolbars down here. So your assignments, you can drag and drop and then create your chart structure. Okay. In here, there's a local library that is saved of all the assignments you've used with your command computer. Okay. So if I just type in incident, if I type that in, I can find the one I want. Oh, what did I do here? There it is. So you can just drag and drop and create. You don't have the option to really add those details like what you would do within a plan itself. So you'll see if you right click, this details is a detail report. So there's not much in regards to adding details like what to wear, things like that. Okay. So you can build your template out, just again drag and drop your assignments in. You can scan if you have scan options. You can, or if you have a USB scanner, you can scan this in. Okay. I just have some basic barcodes here. I know it doesn't. The names of these assignments don't make sense. Don't worry about it because I'm just scanning in some random assignments. You can see how quick that is. So if you build out your assignments within Salamander Live, you can print them off as barcodes. So I will show you what those barcodes look like. Assignment barcodes like this right here. So you can build it all out in Salamander Live under the assignment section and then print these off. There's a design called 8.5 by 11 assignment sheet, and this is what this is. So it prints off 10 barcodes per page, and then you print this off and have this follow your command computer so that they can quickly just scan, 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 scan. And then you can drag and drop and create, you know, your chart. I know this doesn't make sense here, but I'm just showing you guys this process. Okay. And then, of course, you can add your resources down here as well too. However, the difference is because this is an active event, and when you activate this, or when you use this template, if people are already in an assignment, for example, if I right-click on here, I set this as an active assignment, and I scan someone in, Larry Perry. When I activate this template with this person under Air Technical Group, it's going to automatically check them in at the time I activate this event. So this is where it's a little bit, you're going to have to be a little more careful with how you create your templates if you want to use resources, because your templates can include just chart structure and the assignments, or they can also include resources. So if you're going to use resources, I recommend that they go in the off-stand assignment. You can create your roster of all the people that you have that are planned to work that event. Throw them in the off-stand assignment. Okay, you can even create your collections, your teams in here, throw them all in there, and then on the day of your event, you can drag and drop them into their different assignments as they check in, or of course you can have them connected to Track, and your Track app users on the field that are checking people in can move them where they need to go. So a couple options on there, but this is where you want to be a little bit careful on this. So incident, if you go to incident, so it's a second tab at the top, not tab, I apologize, menu item, save template, and you see in here structure and structural resources. Okay. When you're ready to activate, go to new. So on the day of the event, let's say this is the day of the event, I could put the name of the event in here. There's this option right here. I know it's cut off right here, but it says template. You click the little 3 dots. That's going to pull down all your templates that you've saved on your command computer. So I've got quite a list in here. Select the one that you want, and then your actual template is going to populate. Let me see. I have, where's my training exercise one? This might be the right one. Okay. Activate that. And there you go. So a training exercise, your entire template pops over. Now you're ready to start checking people in. On the track app side, you'll see all these assignments populate over for this event. Obviously there's no resources tied here because you see there's no person that's been checked in yet. So obviously in your track app, it is going to be empty on your track app as well. So in this case, you can use RapidTag and your track app to start scanning and checking people in for that exercise. Okay. So here's the event right here. Oops. Make it bigger so you can see. So there is the command event. You'll see there's two in there. There's the training template. As I stated earlier, it pops up as a actual event. So you just want to make sure that you end that so it doesn't appear here. So here it is, training exercise. All the assignments populate through. Okay. Questions? Command and plans feature. I'm getting these scan errors. I know you guys see this. It's because I have multiple applications up and running that's using the scan. So it's trying to figure out which one it's supposed to go to. That is why we also don't recommend having all the solutions on one computer, because then you're limiting yourself to not having those applications usable for an event or shareable for an event. Let's see here. Other things, RapidTag, CheckIn, and print ID tags for unplanned resources. We've gone through RapidTag multiple times, so you can see that process. You already know about that process. Use RapidTag evac to ID and tag evacuees, patients. You can triage victims as well too. There is some basic information you fill on the RapidTag evac side. And of course, we talked about the track app ready to move and check in and move resources from assignment to assignment. So, questions on this? Did you guys want to see RapidTag evac? If you want to see RapidTag evac, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. This one, there's no thumbs up. Just write me a message that says yes, or you can unmute yourself and say yes. If not, then I will move on. Okay, I don't see anything, so I am going to move on. All right. Another use case scenario, events. So again, this is any type of events, right? Small, large. These can be conferences. It can be, venues, concerts. I've seen people use these for. So lots of different things for pods. So this is all types of events. So in this case, you can use Salamander to help create, an environment where, the attendees can enjoy the event while our solutions are working in the back end. So it can assist with safety and security of the people that are attending that event, but also the safety and security of all your staff without the need for a separate or expensive badging and attendance software, which I know that some agencies and organizations that do conferences that sometimes they use. So for pre-planned events, let's say such as a conference, you can build out your event structure using the plans feature. So just like what I showed you guys before, you can print their ID tags ahead of time using Salamander Live. And then during registration, you can provide that ID tag for them, with their little check-in bag with all the different items that they might need for that conference. So all that can be done ahead of time. For unplanned attendees, or staff or volunteers, if you have emergency personnel that's going to be on site, you can use Rapid Tag to quickly create them an ID tag and of course, to check them in. And then using the Track app to track those attendees as they move from class to class, or if they move, let's say it's different parts of the buildings, maybe the different buildings or different rooms are secured and you want to see who's accessing the specific rooms. You can use the Track app to check them in and out of those rooms or those buildings as well. And then using Command to monitor and manage all that in real time. So again, this is a combination of everything that we just talked about as well too. Big focus on this one is going to be for conference tracking. I think in the last year, I think I did training for a couple, I think it's like 2 or 3 organizations on how to use the Track app for conference tracking. So this is kind of just a basic outline of a workflow. Again, you can add details to this. You can remove items on here that doesn't make sense for how you want to track people for a conference. Again, this is just tracking attendees. But if you want to also track your staff members and stuff like that, of course, there would be additional steps in here that you want to do that. So I've put this together. If you're interested in having this Track app workflow, send me an email at training@salamanderlive.com and I can send this out to you so that you can have this workflow. But this has seemed to work for those organizations that I've worked with in the past for their conference and their events. So in here, step 1, start the event. You'll need to create the event for each day in the Track app. So in this case, they're using solely the Track app. They're using solely the Track app and then Salamander Live. So in this case, they would have one person go into the Track app and create that event. So every day before the event, when they open the doors for people to come in, they have to go in there and create that event. So if, let's say, for example, EM conference, 2022, let's say if the event's running for 3 days, you want to make sure you have a day 1, a day 2, day 3. Next on here is add the day and a number of assignments. So in this case, the same person or a different person is going to need to go in and manually add the day's classes. So for the conference, you got to, your classes are all pre-planned, right? And which are the ones that you want to keep track of? For those attendees, the ones that you want to make sure that they've attended so they can get certification for that class or for that conference. You want to make sure that you're able to track who's all attended. So in this case, they have to go into Salamander Live and make sure that they add all those, into the Track app and make sure that they add all those classes for that day's event. So there's some pre-planning for this that would have to happen, right? So in order for you to add those day's classes into the Track app, you want to make sure that those assignments list are available within Salamander Live. So that's another pre-planned process that you'd have to go into Salamander Live under the assignments database and make sure you add all those classes in there so they exist, so that your Track app person can quickly just download them. So again, you can add breakfast, lunch, whatever that is, whatever assignments you want for that day. Next on here, joining the event. So your Track app users, so let's say you have, each, 10 Track app users, all of them will need to log into the Track app and join that event that you created, so that all their data is being collected to the same event. Check-in point, scan the attendee's ID tag into a check-in assignment. So this is check-in point, registration, whatever you want to call that. They're checking in, saying, I'm here. You give them their ID tag, and then you check them in. And then you can put them into a checked-in assignment. It just says they're checked in, they're in the building, class hasn't started yet, maybe there's an opening ceremony. There's, donuts and coffee and stuff that they can mingle before everything starts. So usually, 30 minutes, an hour before your conference starts. Class attendance, this is where every single class attendee, they would be scanned into each class assignment at the door. So there would be track app individuals at the door, for each of the classes. Again, this really depends on how many different classes are running at the same time. If you have multiple classes running at the same time and you need those tracked and accounted for, you'd have 1 or 2 people at each of those doors to scan people in, depending on how big your conference is. As you guys know, the track app, you used the track app before, scanning is super simple, very, very easy, right? So once you have that in, it just bam, 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 bam. You can scan in, a lot of people in a short amount of time. Now, I didn't put a section on here to when the class is done, do you want to check people out? That's really up to you. Most the organizations I've worked with didn't want to do that process. It's a lot more work for your staff members, so they're like, we don't care. We just want to know whether or not they attended. So unfortunately, in that case, if that person just checked in for the first 5 minutes and then left, they're not checking those people out of that class. So in that case, you wouldn't know, but you'd hope that most people would stay for the entire majority of the training or that class. So in this case, as you guys know, with the track app, as people are moving from class to class or class to breakfast and lunch, etc., the track app automatically takes care of checking them out from one assignment to another. Okay, so in this case, breakfast and lunch for this here, if you wanted to, especially if you're doing paid breakfasts and lunches, you can do something such as putting a sticker on the ID tag of attendees who did not pay, because that the number of people that paid is going to be a lot more than those that did not pay. So having that sticker on all those that did not pay, so that it's a good identifier. It's a good identifier that those individuals did not pay, so that all your numbers at the end of the day match up with how many people actually had breakfast and etc., and how many were paid for and which ones weren't. At the end of the day, you can have, again, one person end the event in Salamander Live. So in Salamander Live, all the events, that's where you would go in, end the event, and of course view all your reports for that day. And then you repeat the steps for each day. So this is kind of, again, a quick basic track app workflow that you guys can use if you guys would like to. So I'll just pull up the track app real quick, and then I'll show you guys that process. Okay. Give me 1 second while I get my track app up. So I have to always close it because it takes up too much space on my screen here. All right. So here it is. Start the event. One person starts the event. Let's say this is a conference, day 1. Oops. Create. So you can add your different assignments in here. So I can add my assignment. So again, this is not one person that would do this. So class, you see in here, I've added all these already in the system. So class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say there's 6 classes that's running for that day. I'm adding them all in. So now your track app users just have to stand at the door and wait. So let's say I am in charge of scanning everybody into class 1. I just tapped class 1, tap the scan button, and scan away. So here's all the people for scan 1, or for class 1. And you can turn off identity verification as well too. You don't need to have identity verification turned on for this unless you want to. I mean, you guys are, the ones that printed off the ID tags, so you'll know which or who those individuals are. So you see how quick and easy that is? It's a lot quicker if you have identity verification turned off. There's breakfast and lunch in here as well too, so if you want to add those in. Let's see, lunch. So you can add those in. So if they're going to lunch, all you do is tap lunch. Again, stand in line, and then scan away. And it'll move that person from the one assignment to the next. Hopefully I scan the same person. So. Okay. If you tap on their name, new person, let me see. Yeah, you see in here, assignment history. So it says class 1 from this time, and then they went to lunch at this time. So then you can see that assignment history of when they're moving throughout the day for their different classes and through lunch. On the Salamander Live side, this is where you would, you can manage all this. And this is where you can see the event itself. This is where you can manage all of the events. So you should see all of the events that we've created so far today. So your monthly meeting, I ended that one. Visitor check-in, the Tuesday event, your template, your training exercise, and your conference day 1. So in here you can go into your event dashboard and you can see that data. All your reports are going to be available in here. So a couple of different ways you can access your reports. Obviously, go to the event dashboard and click on your reports. So you have your people summary reports at the very top here that has the data for that day for those people. So you can do a quick summary. You can do a summary by day. These ones right here, people activity summary, and then there's cost reports down here if you want to look at cost. So this is where all the reports are. Other way you can access the reports is through this page on the main events list. Is you can just go through here and click here as well. Let's say monthly meeting. You want to know all the people that attended this. You can look at a people summary, pull up the CSV report. Okay, there it is. Let me move it over. There's like a lag on my computer. I apologize. Okay. So here it is. Time in, time out, how long they're there for that meeting for, and their information. So again, this is this right here is your report to see who was all part of that meeting. Okay. Any questions on reporting? None? All right. The last piece I'm going to go through is really about the CAD integration. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to show you for CAD integration. Obviously, CAD integration is more customized, and it just really depends on which CAD system you're using. So Salamander can be that conduit between your CAD and your reporting. From a daily use perspective, you could comprehensively track all your resources. You could provide that interoperable communication. You can establish the data right from the beginning, right when you get that call, and then it just really simplifies the overall workflow from your call to the event, and then to managing of the resources from that event. So on this slide here, again, as I stated, I won't be able to do a demo of a CAD integration, but I wanted to show you all of our solutions that complement a CAD. So if you're interested, make sure that you reach out to your local sales rep. They can kind of talk to you a little bit more about this, provide you, or they provide the details about what system you use. They can contact us, and then we can provide a quote on that integration. Lots of different things you can do on here. So Tag App, Rapid Tag talks about the different things and how it utilizes these solutions to complement your CAD. Okay. Any questions? Any questions on what we've covered today? Any questions? I know there is one that I missed, which is on the auditing. Due to time, I didn't cover that. If you want more information on the auditing piece, there's a ton of training within Salamander Live that you can go in and see that information. I just want to be respectful of everybody's time since it is 11 o'clock. But under Salamander University, we've got a ton of information. I know that we just also put out a new video that talks about asset management, but there are past videos in here you can go through, webinar video you can go through. There's documents. There's the inventory management section in here that talks about the inventory app on how to adjust inventory. So adjusting inventory is the name of the feature we have within the inventory app, but that's where you would do your auditing. Let me see if someone have a question. Yes, Ryan, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. But that's where you can find all your information. And then the video is on here if you want to view that. Oh, if I can spell salamander right. There's a new video in here that you guys can view as well too. So let me see here. Where did she put that under resources? So there's tons of stuff that you can go in here and view. So flyers and such. So okay. Any questions? Anything that anybody wants to add? Anything you guys want to add? Right. Well, as usual, you will receive an evaluation, so make sure you guys complete that for me. I really appreciate your attendance and your feedback, so just let me know how I can improve these. So if you want more information on anything that we've covered, again, you can reach out to your local sales rep or you can send me an email, and we will be sure to assist. Other than that, I just want to, again, thank you guys all so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend and stay warm, especially if you're in the Midwest to northern part of the country here. So it's a cold one out there. All right, everyone. Take care.